It usually starts with a what if. So for example, you and your partner have pulled into a gas station. Your partner gets out, pumps the gas, goes into the Circle K to pay, and never comes back out. What happened? Where did he or she go? So it's that kind of thing, and you can just be anywhere, a grocery store, a library, at work, and something will just click and you go, well, I wonder what if this happened, and then you just follow through. So for me, that's kind of, you're just always aware of a situation that could be turned into hopefully something entertaining.
Oh, that's terrific. And do you ever carry a journal around with you to write down these thoughts and notes? Just because,
all the time.
Exactly, I would think. I would hope so. Just that inspiration can be coming from anywhere, anytime, any place. That's incredible. And speaking to the co-authorship, I'm assuming you're in close contact with your co-authors, right? So you guys are in close contact with one another. Do you ever send a text or a phone call and say, hey, I had this fabulous idea at like all hours of the day? Or is it something you say for a monthly meeting like we were mentioning before? Yeah. Excellent.
We text and email all the time, like all the time. The day doesn't go by that I don't
I'm going to pass
text
this to
you.
Gloria, sorry.
It's not working.
It is for me, but it's fine.
That's what being a technical writer does.
I'm a nuclear power plant, nothing to do with microphones. Anyway, we text and get together once a month, text, email all day long, every day about any chapter, any little fact. We try to make sure that the book is in half decent shape by the time we're done, so that we don't have to go back and fix absolutely everything. So we're in constant contact. And Donna and I too, like we're always in contact every single day. So, right? As a matter of fact, 3 of us and plus our other member are going to Quebec for 3 days next week. 3 weeks, yeah. 3 days next week, and we're hoping to have a little downtime and
Research.
Well, yes, it is research.
Research you can write off.
We don't know what ideas will come up. I hope the wildfires are done by then.
Thank you. So my next question too, since you're all mystery is what's uniting us here with this panel talk tonight, or today rather, can you tell us a little bit about how that mystery, so I know we started with the what if, which is incredible, but do you think about the mystery and how it will be solved to begin with and then work backwards? Or is your process more just you're thinking of that what if and coming up with how that it will be solved and it sort of just takes shape on its own? It's so interesting, the process of how do you write a mystery, right? So, because eventually it does have to have a conclusion of sorts, or maybe it doesn't. But we're so interested in that process, so I'd love to hear more.
Just a very short answer.
Sure,
to
sure.
that. My whodunit, the person that I figured did it, never does it. Never in the end is he or she the person. I started with an idea, and I think I know who is going to be the killer or the murderer or the bad guy or the bad woman, and it's never that person. The characters always change things as we go through, and it's all. And at the end, sometimes I'm faced with that dilemma. Okay, who am I going? Who's going to be the killer? Like it could be him, it could be her, it could be her. Which
Or
one?
who am I going to kill off?
Oh no, I usually kill. I usually know. I get characters to kill off. I don't like to kill off my good characters. I usually create characters to die. But because you don't want, you get fond of them. You really do. You get to like your characters, and especially if you're writing series. You really like them, and you don't want to kill them off. Well, some of us don't.
That's fantastic. Does anyone else want to share about their process of writing?
Yeah, I think every writer has their own, what works for them. I often will use a spreadsheet. I'll have an idea, and then I use just 3 or 4 sentences in maybe on a line in the spreadsheet to kind of, when you start to piece together, once you have your characters figured out and their profiles of where the story might go. For Targeted, Gloria and I were on a cruise in the Caribbean, and we started listening to some of the stories from other people on the cruise ship about things that had happened to people traveling in the Caribbean that weren't quite aware or weren't told to maybe when you travel in groups and things like that. And that, for me, that just gave me the idea of a crime fiction story that would be someone going on vacation, what could happen if you make poor choices. So that was just, it's not, like Liz says, it's part of what if, but sometimes it's from actual life, things that you hear about, you know. We're always trying to listen for ideas, but just hearing people talking, even on the news, watching the daily news, you know, you can get ideas from some of the tragedies or some of the drama that's on television, and then start to think, when you have some quiet time, about how you could put a plot together around this kind of idea.
So interesting. Thank you so much for sharing. Would anyone else like to share a bit about their process about, you know, how do they identify who did it, or perhaps the mystery itself, and how you build that sort of, that story of suspense, and also make sure it's not predictable at the same time, which is quite a skill. Yes, go ahead.
Do you want to say anything, Pam?
Sure.
Why not?
When we talk about finding ideas, I think it's life experiences as well, where none of us are like 25 or 35 or...
Speak for yourself.
But relationships are very part of it. Not that I've been involved in a murder or anything, or a crime heist, but dealing with your characters, it's just life, and the ideas, actually once you've formed your characters, they tell you what to write. You know, sometimes you just have a blank page or a blank screen and you go, where am I going from here? But then you just start thinking about what you want your character to be, and they tell you what to write.
And
There's going to be a fight for the microphone.
If the character doesn't like what you want them to do, you will have a block. Honestly, we've had it happen several times, and then you can say, well, that's because so-and-so wouldn't have gone there, or wouldn't have said this, or eaten that, or whatever. And once you can resolve that, the floodgates open up again, and away you go. So the characters, I find for us, tell us, because we have 2 series, we have similar characters flowing through all of them, and they tell us the story, we discover it at the same time.
Yeah.
I think that's really interesting. I think that for many of us, we often don't think that it's the characters that are really crafting the story, right? And making sure that your characters are believable too, so they're modeled after like different behaviors or mannerisms, and maybe even loosely based on people you know in your life. And I think that's so interesting. But how is it that you develop your characters? Can you speak a little bit more to that as well? It's a difficult question.
That's a good question, how we develop our characters. It's a process, I think, no different than what you find in real life. We have profile pages for all our characters, and we start out with your basic physical description, and then you start adding background to them, how they grew up, what subjects did they like in school, things that may never come out in the story, but it helps us to know them better. Things that might happen to them, things that are going to affect how they react. And that's when, if we've done it right, that's when the character will say, yeah, no, you can't have me do that because that is not me. So it's a process, just like real life is a process. You meet somebody, you know, it takes time to get to know them. And it's the same with our characters.
That's great. Thank you for sharing. Would anyone else like to speak? Yes, go ahead, please. Thank you.
I think we bring different things to a story. Gloria is humorous, very humorous.
you'd never think to look at me.
Liz is our techie guy. She's very analytical, and so I don't know, that seems to...
And you're the emotional one.
Oh, I'm the
She's
emotional
more
one. I
that
cry.
comes out with the emotions of the characters more so than
I bring in all the fluff.
Well, it's not fluff, it's necessary.
It's necessary.
Yes, exactly. It makes your characters human, right?
Yeah, it makes them
Exactly.
human, exactly.
Exactly. I'm going to pass this off to you too, so that you can.
But it works when there's three people in one story, especially this new one that we've just got out. And it's just worked out, it just all out a little different. There you go. Donna.
I was just going to say then, and if there's any fluff, I edit it out.
And if there's anything saucy, I edit it out.
And if there's a typo, I edit it out.
Thank you. So sorry. Thank you.